Dear Frozen, you're so awesome in each and every way. To you we praise. Dear Frozen, we pledge our love to you for your reviews. We always felt we had a special bond. Take us to your movie reviews where we're sure nothing bad happens to our movies. Hey guys, this is Frozen Wish Studios here, and welcome back to another movie review. And oh boy, I've been wanting to review this movie for a very long time. So here it is. I'm here today to review what is quite possibly the most divisive animated film ever made, period. Sausage Party. Yeah, with the release of the upcoming Prime TV series, Sausage Party Foodtopia, yeah, time for me to review this film. So, Sausage Party is a film. Sausage Party is a return to form for popular adult animated films made by a big major animated studio, which has not been done in years. Although there were technically adult animated films made in the past few years, they just weren't popular and were made by an indie studio. But then Sony comes around to make this. Sausage Party, it came out in the year 2016, and it stars Conrad Vernon and Greg Tiernan, and it stars Seth Rogen, Kristen Wiig, Jonah Hill, Bill Hader, Michael Cera, James Franco, Danny McBride, Craig Robinson, Paul Rudd, Nick Kroll, Edward Norton, Salma Hayek, etc. And so the film that tells the story of this tells the story taking place in a grocery supermarket where it is surrounded by a community of living food, not just food but grocery items. They pretty much worship humans as their or customers as their gods. They would pray to the customers, or as they'd like to call gods, that to pick them up and take them to a place outside the grocery store that they call the Great Beyond. And so they would start each morning with singing a worship prayer, like a quote-unquote prayerful song, which is pretty much the song I parodied in the intro. Yeah, it's sung in the same style as a Disney song, which is not a bad thing in my book. Actually, a good thing. And so but then once the customers actually take them to the quote unquote Great Beyond, it all turns to shit when Honey Mustard comes back to the grocery store and warns everyone about what the quote-unquote gods would do to them, and that they're actually evil. There's suspicion starts to grow on this main sausage named Frank, who is the main hero of the film. But unfortunately, everybody in the grocery store wouldn't believe them. But then Frank meets a bunch of hippies who apparently was the one who invented the Great Beyond and told the story about the humans being gods, just so that everybody can be in peace when the humans when the customers pick them up. But then it is up to Frank after learning the truth to expose the customers to everybody and fight back. But it all it may be pretty hard since nobody believes Frank. I know it is crazy for that to believe that adult animated films exist. Because back in the days, I will admit, guys, I always thought that animation is for kids, and it is true that animation is for everyone, for all ages. But even back in the days, like what I said, I always believed that animation was just for kids, and that it would be. But of course, adult animated films see the light of day. In fact, this movie was actually my introduction to adult animation. Like this was the first time where I learned that adult animated films exist. Even with the shows like Simpsons and Family Guy, I will admit, I did see bits and pieces of them, but I never really viewed them as adult films. My parents never even told me that they were for adults. But yeah, I actually did see Sausage Party like towards the end of 2016, because 2016 is the year where I started watching adult like R-rated movies. Well, not really the start of it, since I did see Kick-Ass 2 and Kick-Ass 2 and Kingsman: The Secret Service like in like the previous years, like 2014 and 2015. That was when I started watching an R-rated film. And then in 2016, I saw Deadpool on digital. Deadpool was like the first one I ever saw, yeah. And then came Sausage Party, the first R-rated animated film I ever saw, where like it's full of swearing and sex from what I heard. And this movie even got the rare R18 in my country. Yeah, never as a film gotten an R18 rating in my country. Yeah, it's like a rare thing. Although yes, the 50 Shades trilogy, and Scream 6, Halloween Ends, and Evil Dead Rise, and also the recent Monkey Man did get an R18 rating in my country, but it's kind of a rare thing, because most of the brutal and heavy R-rated films would be R16 in my area, but Sausage Party turned out to be R18, yeah. And even me and my classmates were like talking about this film when I was grade 7, despite them being too young for this film. They still like apparently my friends apparently pirated this movie. So yeah. And as for the movie itself, yeah, it is extremely divisive, because like what I said earlier on, Sausage Party is the most divisive animated film ever made, where there would be a group of people who absolutely love the film, or at least enjoy it. But then there are some who absolutely despise this film with a burning passion. In fact, so much so that how do I say this? So much so that they even go as far as calling this one of the worst animated films of all time. Like I remember someone commenting my review of this on my rant on Despicable Me 4, which you all know is my worst movie of all time. Someone told me, or was like asking me, so you seriously think it's worse than Emoji Movie, Food Fight, Norm of the North, Marmaduke 2024? By the way, I never saw Marmaduke and I never will. And even mentioned Food Fight on that, even mentioned Sausage Party. Oh, and also Where Did That Go to Die, like those movies. And this guy mentioned Sausage Party like on the same level as those films. Like, yeah, I understand if you think that that Emoji Movie, North or any of those mentioned movies are your worst animated films of all time. But like, how the fuck do people consider Sausage Party on the same level as those films? It doesn't deserve it. I've even heard people say this is even worse than the Emoji Movie. Like, really? Like, that is insulting. Yeah, by the way, I am actually having thoughts on doing an extreme epic rant on the Emoji Movie this year, but yeah. But seriously, how in the flying fuck do people think that this is worse than the Emoji Movie? Yeah, I will admit, at one point, I actually did join the hate base for this film. I actually was a part of it, but it didn't take long until I realized that this movie is actually good. Yeah, I will admit though, similar to Star Wars: The Last Jedi, I only joined the hate base just because it apparently was cool for everyone to hate the film because it's so inappropriate. Yeah, but then just when I started to but then all of a sudden I decided to revisit this film, and I actually like it, and I was like asking myself, damn, why did I hate this film? And you want to know why this movie has a lot of hate? Yeah, it's because it's R-rated, It's not for kids. It's inappropriate. It has swear words, etc. Like, come on, guys. That's not a valid reason to not like a film. Animation is made for everyone, and people like get pissed off and get upset when animation is being regarded as for kids. But that's the thing with but that's technically Hollywood's fault for making their animated films just feel so childish nowadays. Yeah, up to the point where yeah, adult animated films will get disrespected. So yeah, if you want to prove that the animation is for all ages and it can be for adults too, this movie is a prime example of it. And as for my thoughts on Sausage Party, as of now, I still like it. I still really like it. Sure, yes, I did overpraise it in 2022. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 rating. Yeah, I gave it a near perfect rating. I did say I was going to review Sausage Party at that time, but I never really gotten around to it. But now, 2 years later, I am finally taking my word and reviewing this underrated gem. So yeah, since this is a very controversial opinion, a very controversial review, I want you guys to listen and understand what I am going, where I am coming from, instead of bashing my opinion on it. It's like, oh, Frozen, how come you give this movie a pass but not Despicable Me 4? Yeah, I don't care what anyone says. So yeah, now time for me to explain why I think Sausage Party is one of the most overhated and misunderstood animated films ever made. This is tied with X-Men Apocalypse as the most underrated movie of 2016. Yeah, for me, yeah. Okay, well, don't get me wrong. Do I think this is the perfect movie and a masterpiece? Hell no. Is this one of the best animated films of 2016? Absolutely not. I mean, it's no Zootopia, it's no Moana, and it ain't Kuma and the Two Strings either. So yeah. But yeah. Sausage Party may be in my top 5 favorite animated films of 2016 list, but depends on how many good animated films are in that year. I can't really. I'd have to think about it, but like I said, it's nowhere near as good as those 3 films I just mentioned. But yeah, I actually probably put it above Kung Fu Panda 4 and Finding Dory. Yeah, I prefer Sausage Party over Panda 3 and Finding Dory. I will admit that. But anyways, yes, as for my flaws with the film, yeah, and yes, it is flawed, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I would say I'm not a big fan of the animation. There's no denying that. There is actually a behind the scenes thing about this film. This film had behind the scenes hell where basically Sony treated their animators like shit, and Sony was abusing their animators based on what I heard, and as a result, this is the animation that came out. And while I do think that the foods look fine, they look alright. I mean, not foods, but the grocery items. Although I will say that the animation on the foods, they do look they do like something you would expect from a kid's animated film, which is maybe one reason why people were put off by this movie, or rather thinking that people thought that this was a kid's animated film because of the animation. Adult animations would often have a specific character design. I mean, look at Rick and Morty, for example. That's the kind of animation I see. I see from adult animated films. That the kind of animation from Rick and Morty is the kind of animation from Rick and Morty is the type of animation I'd expect from adult animation. But Sausage Party, I will admit, it does look off-putting, but it's all the grocery items is alright. But good God, the designs on the human characters, yeah, it looks like shit, man. It looks so cheap and outdated. It looks so why do they look like these human? The character designs on the humans, they look like something that came out of the early 2000s. They don't look fitting for this time period. Yeah, I hate every single human character in this film. I will admit, I hate the humans. They all suck us. not really because of their personality, like the fact that the movie antagonizes them, but just because of their horrendous design, even their character animation. It looks like something. It doesn't look cinema worthy. Yeah, I'm honestly okay with not seeing this one in theaters because it kind of feels like more like a streaming service movie. To be honest. Also, Douche felt like a thrown-in main antagonist. Like, he literally does nothing in the film. Like, all he does is just hunt for, like, chase all the main characters and attack them and become stronger. And then in the climax, he like controls the janitor, like almost like basically like Ratatouille if Remy wasn't Linguini's a dick. Yeah, like something like that. But like, there was no point. The movie doesn't make a point on Douche being the main antagonist. And why do you need a grocery store item to be the main antagonist? Like, don't you have the humans? I mean, the whole point of the movie is how the foods were actually proven wrong, and the humans would actually like harm them, and they'd be eaten alive and killed. Like, you literally have the humans as the main antagonist, but no, the movie just made the humans the side antagonist in favor of Dusha being the front and center main antagonist, which feels unnecessary. But other than those flaws, Sausage Party, everything else about Sausage Party is really great. Yes, I think we can all see that Sausage Party is crass, raunchy, and shocking with all the Verglar humor and all that stuff. But what really makes a Sausage Party so good is the writing. This writing and the premise alone, it's genius. It's actually genius. It's a story that makes you think, because it's not just it's not a very simple story. It's actually a very complex and metaphorical story. The story of the film is a metaphor for religious beliefs and how we all have different beliefs. Like, the item characters who believe that in the humans as their gods, and the great beyond is their heaven, is an allegory for Christianity. But then, while you got characters like Honey Mustard, who is a metaphor for an atheist. I know. I will admit that I don't really have that much of an interest to talk about religion on my channel, but I mean, this movie is actually an allegory and metaphor for religion. So how can you not bring up religion in this review? I mean, yes, I am a Christian, but I don't really. I mean, religion just isn't really something that I talk about on the internet, honestly. There are better topics for me to talk about. But yeah, the film also tackles themes of society and culture with references to real world problems thrown into the mix. The film ultimately delivers a message about unity, and we shouldn't force our beliefs down anyone's throats. There's a difference between the latter and the former that I just mentioned. And the message is thankfully told in a way that felt genuine and not preachy. Take notes, trolls. The Great Beyond song in the beginning of the film. Sure, while there are lyrics that felt random, it makes no sense. Like, we are all fucking stupid. I like this song overall. Like, I love how it parodies a Disney musical number, and it does it like very well, especially as a Disney fan myself. And as well as the writers know very well how to craft a clever story. They also know very well how to craft clever humor, as this features some of the funniest comedy I've ever seen put to an animated film. This would make my top 5 funniest movies ever made, period. Yeah, I don't remember laughing out loud as much as this one. And it's a film that doesn't take itself seriously at all. And people tell me that I hate fun, and I always rely too much on movies being serious. But when I actually like a film like this, that is not true at all. As I like fun, I like movies that don't take itself seriously. I mean, I defend the MonsterVerse, and the Fast and Furious movies, and I defend this one. Yeah, Sausage Party would probably be my guilty pleasure at 2016, but but then again, I don't even think this should be considered a guilty pleasure because it's actually a well-written film. And yeah, well, I can't really recall what the jokes are, but I know the jokes are mostly like crass, raunchy humor and food puns. But there is one joke that I would consider my personal favorite joke in the film, and it's a certain part in the Great Beyond song when this Hitler guy, this guy who parodies Hitler was like, "We'll exterminate the Jews," and apparently they'd show like the tequila. Oh yeah, it was a tequila. The tequila and whiskey are portrayed as the Nazis, and the Jews, the literal Jews, are portrayed as Jews, so which is hilarious, by the way. Yeah, it is. And I like those and those references to like real world situations like that. Like the fact that this movie actually parodies like events like this and does it in a way that may offend some people, but ultimately is genius if you think about it. It's actually like really good. And yeah, there are also pop culture references in the movie, and all of them were well executed without feeling forced. One perfect example of this is like both the climax had a Terminator and Matrix references when yeah, there's a scene where like this janitor guy would like shoot the gum, but then the gum would like form itself back as like Terminator like, and then we'd hear the Terminator background like dun 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 dun. Yeah, hilarious there. And there's even and the Matrix references when was like the scene right after when the same janitor would shoot Barry next, and then the bullet would flow like Matrix style, like how it was in the Matrix, and we'd see Barry like dodging the bullet, just like Neo in the Matrix, which I thought was clever. And yeah, the, and yeah, and going back to the plot a bit, sure, there is that cliche of I don't believe. The cliche where the main character would tell everybody else the problem of the movie, like the conflict that they have to face, but then everyone would be like, "Oh, bullshit, that's not true." But then but nobody believes them. But then later on, they realize, oh, the main character is telling the truth. Yeah, why? I'm not a fan of that cliche. I think Sausage Party does it well executed. It actually it executes itself very well because. It ultimately conveys a message of beliefs, and you should respect other people's beliefs because the reason why a lot of people didn't believe Frank is because they all viewed Frank as an atheist and someone who doesn't believe in the God. So while everyone else does, yes, and it's done brilliantly. I think this has one of the best uses of the misunderstanding cliche I've ever seen. And the film is also very enjoyable from start to finish. There is not a single scene that dragged. Not only is it funny, but it gets violent at times. It gets like violent at times. Like there was a scene in the first act when all the grocery items like dropped on the floor, and then we see like this whole tragic event with a bunch of items like dying, which parodies like World War. Like that was actually like great. And also you got this scene with with a human character's head getting chopped off, and then Barry just shows the chopped off head. That was like gory in a good way. And yet, all the characters are really good. I don't have much to say about these characters, but you got such great characters too, like Frank, Brenda, Barry, Gum, like who else? Carl, Firewater, Tequila, El Guaco, Druggy, Honey Mustard, Well, Douche, I hate Douche for the reason I explained. Sammy Bagel, the Lavash, it actually took me a while to decide on who my personal favorite character in the film is. But ultimately, I decided that my favorite character in the film would be yeah, my favorite character in the film would be Salma Hayek's character Taco. Yeah, not only is Taco my crush in the film, because let's be real here, she is damn hot. Not only that, but she's actually the most likable and kind-hearted character in the movie. She actually has a heart. While the other characters may have their unlikable moments, Taco is like the most likable by far. Barry is also another one of my favorite characters. I love how Barry's character is as an allegory of disabled people. Since Barry is like completely different from everyone else, like since his head is only like half of the size of normal sausages, so I like that. And Barry is also just as likable, so I'd say Barry would be my favorite male character in the film, while Taco would be my overall favorite character in the film. And Taco is one of Salma Hayek's best performance. I mean, not really best role. I think Salma Hayek has done better, like Ajax from Eternals, and my personal favorite Salma Hayek role. I think her best role is easily in From Dusk Till Dawn. I forgot her character name, but yeah, definitely that film. So yeah, and also that the ending is just so raunchy, man. It's so enjoyable. It may be uncomfortable to watch, but I don't care. I actually enjoy seeing that with all these food item characters having sex, no matter which gender they are. And also, yeah, and also that really meta ending. Yeah, that ending went meta when like the hippies would tell the main characters about their about like their voice actor and who voiced them in the real world. That is actually brilliant. So yeah. So overall, while Sausage Party is not perfect due to a mediocre animation and an unnecessary main antagonist, Sausage Party is one of the most is one of the most genius animated films based on writing wise. Yeah, it is a very complex. It has a very complex and metaphorical story with a great message that may feel preachy on paper, but actually it's not preachy at all. It is just a fun movie with great humor, and just this is just my type of movie. And honestly, guys, while I'm not gonna force you to like this movie, I'm not gonna force any haters, because if you if you hate this movie, that's okay. But if you want to take my word on this, well, yeah, I'll do it, guys. Please give this movie a chance. Yeah, I mean, I think R-rated anime films deserve more respect, and this movie is certainly a perfect example of good R-rated animated film. So yeah, maybe you should rewatch this film and think about the things I just said and all the reasons why I think Sausage Party is a damn great film, and then see if you can change your mind on it. But if you really think this film is bad, then fine, go ahead. It's not really a film that I'm passionate about. And it's not really one of the best adult animation, but yeah, it's certainly one of the most underrated animated films ever made. One of the most overhated. And like what I said, it's tied with X-Men Apocalypse as the most underrated movie of 2016. So with that said, I'm gonna give Sausage Party 4 stars out of 5. Great movie. So yeah, I actually cannot wait for Sausage Party Foodtopia. Sure, yeah, the animation actually looks even worse, but the story does sound interesting, believe it or not. And it's Sausage Party, so yeah, hopefully it's just as funny as it is in this film. So yeah, that's all for my review of Sausage Party. What are your thoughts on the film? Would you agree with me that Sausage Party is vastly overhated and deserves more respect, or do you think that this movie is, or do you think that this movie deserves the hate it gets? So yeah, comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for more videos to come. So yeah, guys, just a heads up, I won't be doing a video in a while because tomorrow I am leaving on vacation. But don't worry, guys. I am planning to make a vacation vlog. But yes, ultimately I will still do a video. I'm not sure which video to do. Yeah, because actually the next video on my list is on my list of confirmed videos is my Deadpool 1 and 2 review, which won't be done until like 2 or 3 weeks from now. Oh yeah, also my review on Twisters leading up to Twisters, like the original Twister the review. That's what I meant to say. And also yeah, but I will eventually review new releases like Fly Me to the Moon and Twisters. So, but just don't expect much from me within the next few couple of days and maybe weeks. So yeah, bye guys.